What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC Fight Night, Emmett versus Murphy. We had a sick weekend for UFC Mexico City last weekend, fellas. We went 10-2 on picks, I think, and we went like 8-4 on like exact method specific predictions, which I think is pretty good, honestly. We had a pretty good weekend. I'm hoping we can roll that over into this weekend, but it is an Apex card, and sometimes Apex cards are just impossible to read. And there are some pretty tricky fights on this card. Some underdogs I like. But yeah, let's jump right into it. But before we do, subscribe. I'm one off of 120. Why not? Give me one good reason. All right, let's jump right in. Kicking us off at women's strawweight, Loma Lookboonmee is taking on Estela Nunes. Um, I'm gonna go with Loma Lookboonmee. I think she's gonna be a giant favorite here. I'm not looking at the lines. I never look at the lines until I get into like the fights because sometimes I get skewed a little bit. But I'm going with Loma Lookboonmee. She's shown me that she's pretty well rounded. She's got a nice Muay Thai style, a nice Muay Thai base, and she can fight for 3 rounds hard, which Estela Nunes simply just lacks the ability to do. Um, she fights very good for like the first round, and then she falls off a cliff. And if she doesn't get Loma Lookboonmee out of there in round one, I just see her losing a decision 29-28. Um, Maybe even getting finished in the later rounds if she gasses really hard. She comes out hot in the first round. She looks really good on the feet for a couple of minutes. But if she can't find a finish, she just is mid, quite frankly. And Loma Lookboonmee, she's got some good experience against decent ladies, pretty well rounded, leveling up the grappling game a little bit, and she has a nice Muay Thai style. Probably going to be able to keep herself safe, I would think, for the first 5 minutes, which is largely where Estela Nunes is the most dangerous. Got a nice win over Bruna Brazil. It's a decent win to have by decision. Elise Reed subbed her. Not a bad submission win to have. And then Denise Gomes, another decision. Not too shabby. I lost to Lupita Godinez, but you just saw last weekend how good Lupi Godinez actually is. She looked great in her last fight. Yeah, I think Loma Lookboonmee wins here. What is the line? Oh, there is no line. Okay. I don't have a line here. Yeah, that's about what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm going to go with Loma Lookboonmee here. I think she probably wins the decision here, just being the better, well-rounded fighter, built better for 3 rounds. And a lot of times, like women's MMA doesn't get finished that often. And if you're only good in women's MMA for like the first round, you know, I don't love that for you. I think Loma could win maybe inside the distance, but I think largely she's kind of been more of a decision fighter. So I'm going to go with Loma Lookboonmee by decision here. I would have her probably lined. I would not be surprised if they had her lined like minus 500. Um, yeah. Moving up to women's strawweight again, Vanessa Demopoulos taking on Talita Alencar. Guys, this is some slop. There's not really a read you can get on this fight. I've got a bad track record of picking against Vanessa Demopoulos because I think she's terrible, but she keeps getting robbery decisions going her way. She's bad, I think. I don't think she's good at anything. Um, but she is pretty tough, and she does walk forward. Talita Alencar has good jujitsu, and that's like it. Her takedowns are pretty. I don't even want to say average, below average, but her jujitsu is really good. Her striking is pretty bad, but so is Vanessa Demopoulos. This is a ugly, stinky fight where I just do not know what's the line. There's no line. I would assume these ladies would be like even Steven, because this is not an easy fight to get a read on. God, dude, that Murata fight. Holy shit, I forgot how how big of a robbery that was. Um, yeah. I mean, she let herself get armbarred by Jacqueline Emerim. She literally stuck her arm into the armbar like an idiot. If she, I mean, Alan Carr could recreate that, I think. Oh, but if it goes the distance, Vanessa Demopoulos will probably win a split. Dude, I don't know. I don't know, man. This fight is just disgusting. I'm gonna go with Talita Alencar, I guess, because at least there is some discipline of fighting that she is at least a little bit proficient at. I'm gonna say Talita Alencar submits Vanessa Demopoulos. If she doesn't, she'll probably just get decisioned, most likely. But I don't know. I I refuse to watch tape on this fight. I won't. I won't do it. Moving up to bantamweight, Victor Henry taking on Pedro Falcao. This is a fight I'm actually kind of interested in. I'm I don't know, man. There's no lines for these, which is interesting. I think I'm gonna go with Victor Henry, but I think Pedro Falcao is actually kind of good. Decently well-rounded game, nice jiu-jitsu, had a good performance against Victor Hugo, and I think Victor Hugo is really pretty good. Um, especially for your debut. You know what I mean? Like Victor Hugo is a skilled guy. But Victor Henry's been around. He's got a lot of experience. He's very well rounded, kind of a jack of all trades kind of guy. He doesn't really have too many glaring weaknesses in his game. Even for a 37-year-old guy at bantamweight, he's still pretty quick, very technical. Lost to Charles Jourdain. This was Jourdain's, honestly, in my opinion, his best performance. He looked incredible in this fight. He looked really good at bantamweight. So I don't hate that loss too much. Beat Ronnie Yaya. Ronnie Yaya's terrible, at least at this point in his career. Was looking all right against Javid Basharat before he got kicked in the wiener. Beat Tony Gravely in a split decision. I don't love the split too much, but Tony Gravely's kind of a hard-nosed guy who can hang, and then lost to a Sunsao. Do I think Pedro Falcao is on the level of like a Rafael Sunsao and a bantamweight Charles Jourdain? I don't, but I do think he's got a fair shake at winning this. I think Falcao is actually pretty good, but I'm gonna slightly lean Victor Henry. He's got a good level of competition, good level of experience. He's been around for a while. And I think he's just solid overall. I think he can keep himself safe, generally speaking, and a lot of jujitsu exchanges. I think on the feet he's a little bit better, and I just trust him over 3 rounds, you know. But I think this is winnable for Pedro Falcao. There's no line on this. I would think Victor Henry would be like a slight favorite, like maybe like a minus 170, something like that. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna lean Victor Henry here. I'm just gonna trust his experience and his well-rounded skill set. I think he can probably squeak out a decision here. I could see this being a pretty close fight, though. Maybe like a 29-28, maybe even a split decision. But I think this will be a pretty competitive fight for however long it goes. Moving up to welterweight, Reese McKee taking on Daniel Frunza. Hmm. Dude, I don't think Daniel Frunza is good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Reese McKee is good either. But Daniel Frunza almost got knocked out on the Contender Series. He's got good power, though. That's kind of my problem. He's got good power. His striking defense is abominable. It's terrible, his striking defense. And I don't think his chin's that good either. But he's got good power, man. That's kind of my problem. But how often does Reese McKee get destroyed by like finish? Not very often, you know? Hamzat finished him. You know what I mean? Mm, this is tricky. I honestly kind of want to go Reese McKee. I honestly kind of want to go Reese McKee here. He's got the uglier record, but he's fought in the UFC a bunch. He's fought in Cage Warriors a bunch. Got a lot of finishes against a lot of experienced guys on Cage Warriors. Um, lost to Angelusa in a fight. I don't love losing to Angelusa too much. Had a pretty competitive fight with Chidi and Jokawani, and that's a kind of a competitive fight that's aging pretty well because Chidi's been looking great at welterweight. Um, and I just think Reese McKee's a little bit more defensively responsible than a Daniel Frunza. And if Frunza doesn't find a big KO shot, I can see Reese McKee taking advantage of his lack of striking defense and hurting him because he's not super durable. Who are people picking? Nobody's picking McKee. Holy shit. And he's got a 5-inch reach advantage here. So if this is how people are picking this fight, I would assume McKee's a huge underdog here. I still think he's gonna fucking win, dude. Honestly, like when this fight got made, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pick Reese McKee as an underdog, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick Reese McKee as an underdog, uh, because I don't think Daniel Franz is that good, dude. I don't think his striking is that good. I think his striking defense is quite bad. Um, Reese McKee's got experience against decent guys, so we'll see. I don't know. Moving up to women's flyweight, Dione Barbosa taking on Diana Belbita. I'm going with Dione Barbosa. I don't think Diana Belbita is good. She throws a lot of volume. That is it. That is quite literally it. Yeah, I agree. Diana Belbita is just good. Beat Ernesta Carricate, decent win by decision. Good win on the Contender Series with the armbar. Lost to Miranda Maverick, but Maverick's not that bad. Like Maverick beat a Diana Belbita. I'm almost certain of it. I think Dion Barbosa is just decent. She's pretty well rounded, got a good jiu-jitsu game. And Diana Belbita is just kind of mid. I mean, she got armbarred by Molly McCann. Yeah, I'm not even breaking this shit down. Dion Barbosa is gonna win by submission. I don't even need to. There's losing to Molly McCann by armbar. Yeah, no, we're good. Um, moving up the bantamweight. Davy Grant taking on Daniel Santos. This is a sick fight. Oh man, Davy Grant's he's still got it, dude. He showed that in his last fight. I was worried after a couple of injuries and a huge layoff he wouldn't quite look the same. But man, he is still that guy, bro. Even at 40 years old at bantamweight. Does he get one over on Daniel Santos though? I would suspect these guys are lined pretty even. A lot of people are picking Davy Grant. This holy shit. I can see it. I can see the Davy Grant fraud checking, because when we look at Daniel Santos's wins, Johnny Munoz Jr. is pretty mid. KOing John Castaneda is actually very impressive, but that was 2.5 years ago. Losing to Julio Arce, not the worst look in the world, but Julio Arce got cut from the UFC. I don't even. Why the fuck did they cut Julio Arce? By the way, can I wish I could pull up his profile here. I, and then, we're looking at the regional scene, but winning by armbar. This guy's really well rounded. Trains out of the Shuta box. Good striking, very aggressive. Does he beat Davy Grant? Like, Davy Grant could arguably be 5-0 here, because both of these losses are like kind of damn near robbery decisions, especially this Yanez one. Then he KOs Smolka, who's terrible, beats a Sunsao with an inverted triangle, and then beats Ramon Tavares. Oh, dude. This is a tricky one. I feel like. Hold on, let me check something. This will actually help me here. This will help my decision. Please bear with me. Davy Grant's a plus 130, huh? Yeah. I do kind of like Davy Grant as an underdog here. I just don't think Daniel Santos has fought anybody with this level of experience, high level experience, who's as good still as Davy Grant is. But fuck, Daniel Santos is good. I knew I was going to be torn on this one when I first saw it. When was the last time Daniel Santos fought? Almost 2 years ago. You know what? I'm going to go with Daniel Santos. I know he's taken almost 2 years off, But I actually think that's going to help him because he's a young guy. I think he's going to look even more improved vastly than his last fight against Johnny Munoz Jr. He's young in his career. He's very dangerous, trains out of a good team, and he's not one of these fraud shoot to box guys. He's legitimately good. He's very explosive, very dangerous early, and I think that could maybe catch a Davy Grant early and hurt him. I'm going to go with Daniel Santos actually. I'm going to go again. I'm going to go with the betting line, but against the people's underdog in Davy Grant. I'm going to go with Daniel Santos. I actually think. Why do I think he can finish him? I think he can finish him low key. Because I've seen Davy's head popped a little bit. I think Daniel Santos can get a bad reaction, but he's one of these guys who trains at a shoot to box. If he smells blood in the water, he will probably try and kill him. And I think he might be successful early if he can stun him. So I'm going to go with Daniel Santos. Yeah. Moving up to flyweight, Luis Gurule taking on Ode Osborne. I know Gurule because his fight on the Contender Series impressed me a lot. I remember his fight on the Contender Series. Came in on short notice against Nick. Oh, fuck, I can't say his name. Piccinini. Holy shit. He had a really good performance. A really well-rounded game. Trains with Brandon Royval's team. Good fighter, dude. Good pocket boxing, good grappling defense, good 3-round cardio. Even on short notice, he was able to keep an insane pace. Young guy, strong physical guy. He's given up a lot of reach to Ode Osborne. But my concern with Ode Osborne is, yes, he's got very long arms. He's got a very rangy build. But guys get on the inside of Ode Osborne rather easily. Like Manel Kopp was able to flying knee him. You know, Renato Rodriguez was able to work his way on the inside and get takedowns against him. I I think Luis Gurule, although he does have this giant reach disadvantage, he's got great inside boxing and he's got the actual skill to work his way into Ode Osborne's range, or not into his range, into Gurule's range, moving past Ode Osborne's effective range and touching him up in the pocket boxing exchanges. I don't think Ode Osborne can employ any kind of grappling here. Luis Gurule is really good with his grappling defense. Honestly, good with his offense too. I feel like he could take down Ode Osborne as well if things got bad for him. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with Luis Gurule here. I think he's pretty good, dude. Pretty well rounded. Pretty good everywhere. Very strong, very physical. He's got 3 rounds of hard cardio. And Ode Osborne, man, I mean, like these are decent losses. Like these guys are good. Tyson Nam flattened him. Beat Charles Johnson in a split decision, which is kind of impressive. But Charles Johnson, for some reason, loses to bad fighters easily. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Luis Gurule. I think he could finish Ode Osborne. I could see him catching him with a big shot, um, on the feet. And Ode Osborne, he's been chinned a couple of times. Um, Tyson Nam flatlined him. Manel Kopp flatlined him. I think Gurule's got some decent power, man. He's got that short, stocky Michael Chandler build. I think he could catch him with a big shot and hurt him. I'm going to go with Luis Gurule, probably inside the distance, in my opinion. Moving up to middleweight, Robert Valentin taking on Torres Finney. Fucking Mr. Contender Series himself. Okay, they have lines for this one. And that's an interesting line. Hold on, we might have some fucking talking to do here. Torres Finney, if you keep up with the Contender Series, you know Torres Finney fought in the Contender Series 3 times, won all of them, finally got signed to the UFC. Robert Valentin, guy from The Ultimate Fighter. Very fun fighter, Robert Valentin. And I'm a bit biased here. I'm just letting that be known now. I'm pretty biased towards Robert Valentin because I like his style. I think he's cool. And I think Torres Finney's a little bit fucking boring. I'm going to be honest. Torres Finney, predominantly a wrestler who wins by decision. Not the most entertaining of fighters, but he does have a couple of nice knockouts. I believe this is the fight where he had this guy just face planting and sniffing the fucking floor. I believe. It's funny because it just goes regional fight, contender series, regional fight, contender series, contender series. Poor guy, dude. I felt bad because he kept getting sent back because Dana's like, dude, your fights are too fucking boring. And then he would go and murder some guy on the regionals. Then he would have another boring fight on the contender series, except for this one. He got a TKO, which is good, and he got him signed. Robert Valentino, on the other hand, fought his way up through the Ultimate Fighter, ended up losing to Ryan Loder. Ryan Loder's pretty good, though. Good wrestler. I thought Robert Valentine could have beaten Ryan Loder, and he almost did, almost submitted him, but he wasn't able to maintain position. Ryan Loder was able to get a good position on him and get him with some ground and pound. But Robert Valentine, man, I think he's being a little undervalued with this plus 170 betting line. Like Torres Finney, when he fights good competition, he takes him to a decision. You know what I mean? To a pretty boring decision a lot of the time. Uh, like this fight, I don't love. This guy had no grappling. Like this is my problem. Like he's out grappling guys who don't really have decent grappling games. And Robert Valentine's actually pretty decent. He's got decent wrestling defense. And he's got nice submissions. Majority of his wins, I do believe, are by submission. And I think on the feet, Torres Finney has a ton of power. He's very dangerous, but his strike, he has like ugly striking. Like his striking is not good, but he's a freak of muscle. So he packs a big punch. But I could see Valentine hurting him on the feet bad. I could see Valentine honestly hurting Finney on the feet. Okay, yeah. Here's my layout for this fight. If Torres Finney doesn't go out there and wrestle fuck Robert Valentine, I can see Torres Finney when the fight starts kind of engaging on the feet for a little bit with Valentine. Big UFC debut, might be a little bit nervous. Trading on the feet, going tit for tat. Robert Valentine cracks him with a big shot. Torres Finney's kind of like, oh shit, I'm a little bit rocked. He goes for a takedown, shoots a bad takedown. Valentine subs him up with like a front choke or a guillotine. I could see it. That's what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. And at plus 170, I just think he's got majority of the finishing upside, in my opinion. He's got decent grappling defense, and he's got good submissions. I think he's more polished on the feet for sure. He does have the reach advantage too. I'm gonna go with Robert Valentine as like a plus almost 200 underdog. I don't know. I am biased. All right, I like Robert Valentine. I think he's cool, but I do think this is a winnable matchup. Like I don't know what people have seen from Torres Finney to make him minus 225 over Robert Valentine. I just don't see it. So I think that's value. I'm going with Robert Valentine. I think he can win inside the distance. I think he could maybe get a little club and sub action. But we'll see. Torres Finney could just take him down for 15 minutes. Moving up to the main card at middleweight, or was this fight at the main card? That was fight. Okay. First, last fight was on the main card. Moving up to middleweight, Gerald Meerschaert, Brad Tavares. Guys, I'm with Brad Tavares. That's a minus 250. I don't see Gerald Meerschaert being able to apply his grappling. Brad Tavares, one thing he is known for is being very durable and having really, really good takedown defense. I don't think Gerald Meerschaert's that good of a wrestler, or at least good enough to get Brad Tavares down consistently. I don't think so at all. And I think on the feet, although Brad Tavares hasn't looked the best in some of his recent fights, I think he's better than Gerald Meerschaert on the feet. I see this fight going all 3 rounds. I don't see Gerald Meerschaert hitting the Hail Mary submission. Because I don't see him getting Brad Tavares on the ground. I don't see him knocking down Brad Tavares either. Damn, these guys are almost exactly the same age. 3 days apart. But yeah, I'm going with Brad Tavares. I think he's just got nicer striking. He's got good grappling defense. He's very hard to take down. And he's not one of these guys like Edmund Shabazian who's going to blow his wad gas out and let himself get arm triangled. And Brian Barberena is fucking terrible. So, and if Andre Petrosky can outstrike you, Brad Tavares can't. You know what I mean? Now lost to Gregory Rodriguez, freak monster. Lost to Jung Young Park. Jung Young Park's good, pretty well rounded. Don't love the Bruno Silva loss and DDP. You know what I mean? I'm going with Brad Tavares. I think he's going to win a decision here over Gerald Meerschaert. I don't think Meerschaert's going to be able to implement his grappling. I think he's just going to look mid on the feet against Brad Tavares. Wow, oh my God, this is on the main card. This main card is so ugly. Moving up to heavyweight, Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Martin Buday. Do you need me to break this down, guys? I'm going with I almost said I'm going with Martin Buday. I'm going with Kennedy Nzechukwu. He's not obese. He's not obese, and he's not like a 205er coming up to heavyweight like fucking Ryan Spann looking like a fucking blob. Kennedy Nzechukwu was pretty fucking lean at heavyweight, about 230. Looking good at heavyweight. 2 wins at heavyweight. And he's keeping very active, which I like. Yeah, I'm going with Kennedy Nzechukwu, lighter man skill, and he is skilled. He's going to be light years faster than Martin Buday. He can fight for 3 rounds. He's got good power. I think he beats Martin Buday. I think he can. I think he can catch Martin Buday with a big shot on the feet with his fast switch athleticism that he does possess, or at least compared to a big fat slob like Martin Buday, who's I mean, when we look at his wins, Andrei Arlovsky split decision, abysmal. Shamil the Blob destroyed him. He subbed Josh Parisian, Jake Collier, and Lucas Bresky. We finished Lucas Bresky. He robbed Lucas Bresky. Need I say more? I'm going with Kennedy Nzechukwu. I could see this fight going kind of long. Because Martin Buday is pretty tough. The only guy to really finish him was Shamil Gaziev up against the cage. I think Kennedy Nzechukwu, though, even if he does go all 3 rounds, can maintain the distance really well. He's got a big 6-inch reach advantage. And he should be a lot faster for all 3 rounds here. I'm going to go with Kennedy Nzechukwu here. I think he could probably KO Martin Buday. I'll be bold. I'll say Kennedy Nzechukwu KOs Martin Buday. Fuck it. Moving up to bantamweight, Cortavius Romius taking on Shang Ho Lee. Guys, I do not have a read on this fight. This fight is a 50-50 in my head. Close to a 50-50 on the line. I suspect everybody's picking Shang Ho Lee. Really? I thought more people would be on Romius. But I guess Cortavius Romius lost to Gaston Bolaños, which I think is horrible. Yeah. Cortavius Romius is very athletic, very explosive, very dynamic, but he makes a lot of dumb decisions in fights. Like this fight against Ramon Tavares on the Contender Series, very stupid decision making, just ran in and got himself knocked out. Bad decision making against Gaston Bolaños. Win of the regionals, and then got a decent win. A decent, like not great win against Michael Imperato on the Contender Series. Yeah, I don't like picking road to UFC guys just because generally the level of comp isn't that good. But Zhao Long's not that bad. Like Zhao Long isn't that bad. I don't really rate any of these wins either. This is a tricky one, man. Because I think Cortavius Romius in a vacuum is far more athletic and dynamic. And honestly, I feel like he can win this fight. It's just his decision making leaves a lot to be desired for me. I would like to see him get a win, but he's just a bit silly. He's a silly, goofy little guy. I mean, he was like minus 250 against Gaston Bolaños. And he lost clearly. Because he was unable to change up his game plan when things weren't going his way. Am I really about to pick a road to the UFC guy? I think I am. I think I'm going with Shang Ho Lee as a slight favorite. I think this is going to be a really sloppy, ugly fight. But I'm going to trust if Shang Ho Lee doesn't get chinned, I think I'm just going to trust him to make the better decisions over 3 rounds because Cortavius Romius is a guy who can be winning, and then he'll do something that will lose him the round or lose him the fight like he did against Ramon Tavares, just recklessly crashing in and trying to brawl when that's not what you're good at. He does have some incredible knockouts though on the regionals, one of the craziest head kicks I've ever seen in my life. So he has that in the bag. It's just I can't get there trust wise. You know what I mean? Shang Ho Lee doesn't like pop off the screen when he does shit. You know what I mean? Like Cortavius Romius, like he's not super explosive, throwing fucking like a tornado kick at someone's fucking head, but he's consistent. Like he's solid. Could he get finished? Yeah. But I can't trust Cortavius Romeus after losing to Gaston Bolaños, who's an absolute urchin, in my opinion. Like I think Zhao Long is a better win than Gaston. Well, what that implies that Cortavius Romeus beat Gaston Bolaños. I think Zhao Long's a better fighter than Gaston Bolaños. But styles make fights. Cortavius Romeus could chin him. I don't know. I'm going with Chang Ho Lee by decision. We'll see. Moving up to the co-main event, Joe Anderson Brito taking on Pat Sabatini. I'm going with Joe Anderson Brito. Minus 250. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Pat Sabatini is going to be a absolute fucking victim on the feet. He is going to be a victim. Pat Sabatini has a elite jiu-jitsu system. He is very good on the ground. Wrestling, solid too. Not that bad. It's just Joe Anderson Brito is the kind of guy. If it was legal, he'd bite your nose off. Like, he's just mean. He's very strong. He's very mean. He's got a well-rounded game. He's got good grappling. Sometimes he can leave himself in bad positions just because of how over-aggressive he is. But Pat Sabatini's kind of a chin merchant, you know what I mean? Like, Lopez flattened him, Damon Jackson flattened him with a front kick. And we look at Pat Sabatini's wins. Jonathan Pierce, I picked him to submit Jonathan Pierce. Lucas Almeida has no grappling. And TJ Laramie by decision. Joe Anderson Brito is going to knock him out. He's due for another knockout loss, guys. Notice the pattern. He's due. I don't mind the loss to William Gomez because it was a very close fight that probably should have went to Joe Anderson Brito, but I'm not going to cry about it. Finished Jack Shore with fucking leg kicks. Sub Jonathan Pierce with a ninja choke. Weston Wilson's terrible. And then subbed Lucas Alexander. This guy has a win over fucking Diego Lopez. Joe Anderson Brito, I'm still a believer. He's very dangerous. He's just so much meaner on the feet. Like, there is a crater in the skill level on the feet where I don't feel like there's as much of a gap in the grappling. Like, Joe Anderson Brito's pretty hip with the grappling. He's got good jiu-jitsu himself. He's got decent enough submission defense, I would think. But I don't even really see Pat Sabatini getting him in a position like that. I mean, if he does, he could finish him. But I just don't see it. I'm going with Joe Anderson Brito. I think he gets a finish here over Pat Sabatini. Closing out the card at featherweight, our main event, Josh Emmett taking on Lerone Murphy. Guys, I'm going with Lerone Murphy. That line's a bit... I'm going with Lerone Murphy. But I want this to be mentioned. This fight... this fight goes two ways. There's two ways this fight goes. Lerone Murphy technically schools Josh Emmett for 5 rounds and looks very good. Or Lerone Murphy gets touched by an overhand and we have to prepare his funeral processions. That is the two ways this fight goes. And I'm a little bit scared picking him as a minus 265 favorite when we are in the apex in the small cage against the fucking Lord of the Falmer himself. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little bit scary. Lerone Murphy coming off of a win against Dan Ige. And this is another reason why I'm scared picking Lerone Murphy. Because, man, Lerone Murphy's kind of a dum-dum sometimes. He's kind of a dum-dum. Against Dan Ige, he threw a naked leg kick and then a looping-ass punch. And Dan Ige he left Dan Ige in the pocket and he just threw it overhand and almost knocked Lerone Murphy the fuck out. But Dan Ige honestly choked the finish. Like, if we're letting Josh Emmett land an overhand on our chin, we are going to die, Lerone. We need to not be cute and throw cute shit at Josh Emmett or we will be scalped. Okay? Has a 5-round win over Edson Barbosa. I think this is a good win. Showed me he can coast over 5 rounds really quite well. Josh Culibao, I think, is pretty good. Even though he got cut, I think he's solid. Gabriel Santos was a close fight. But I think Santos is all right. But it was his debut. Knocked out Makwan Amirkhani. Everybody does that if it goes out of the first round. Josh Emmett's coming off of probably one of the most hellacious KOs I've ever seen in my life over Bryce Mitchell. Literally knocked him into a grand mal seizure. And that's really what I'm scared of here in this matchup. Lost to Taporia, lost to Yair. But Josh Emmett is 40, taking over a year off, which I don't love. Josh Emmett's not nearly as technical as Lerone Murphy. I think this fight basically, if Josh Emmett wins, Lerone Murphy needs to be dumb and make a serious mistake or have a lapse in judgment on the feet, which he can do. I've seen it. But if he doesn't do that, he's going to school Josh Emmett. Yeah, that's basically how I see this fight going. If Lerone Murphy makes a mistake and makes a oopsie, he's going to die. If he doesn't make an oopsie, he's probably going to win like 49-46 over Josh Emmett. Because he's really nice. He's got really nice boxing fundamentals. He's got good kicks. He's got good wrestling. He's got good wrestling defense. He's really quite solid everywhere. And he's a young guy, and he keeps getting better. Not that young, actually, 33. Substantially younger than Josh Emmett, though. I think this is his fight to win here. He just simply must not throw looping shit in the pocket against Josh Emmett. He cannot do it. He needs to employ the game plan he used against Barboza and just work off that nice jab he has. He's got a nice jab, in and out, 1-2, keep Josh Emmett at range, burn him out by throwing all these big power shots over 5 rounds. Then maybe once we get into like round 3, round 4, maybe we can start to open up a little bit more once we zap a little bit of this 40-year-old man's steroid-infused Falmer power. But yeah, I'm going with Lerone Murphy. I think he should win. I think he wins the decision more often than Josh Emmett lands a gigantic overhand and kills him. So I'm going to go with Lerone Murphy by decision. Yeah. Yeah. Theron's not going to sell. But yeah, that's it for this one, fellas. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it a ton. Hopefully we have another good weekend. Hopefully we have some good fights. Yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you're new. See ya.